We are here in the capital of Scotland. This is such a fantastic mix of old and new. You see a lot of influence of the last 20-30 years in the fact that this is one of the biggest financial hubs of the UK. I'm sure you can guess what the number one is. Number two is right here in Edinburgh. But also, this is one of the oldest cities in the UK. There's evidence of civilization here over 8,000 years ago. If that's not quite tangible for you, when the Romans arrived in the 1st century, there was already a Celtic tribe here. The Romans didn't run into that too much when they were going to conquer new land. To see a civilization already there, pretty amazing. The Celtic tribe was here in the 1st century. Then of course the medieval ages was kind of the rise of the Kingdom of Scotland, and this fortress right behind me, the Edinburgh Castle, was one of the most important strongholds of this kingdom, and still to this day is part of the Scottish Ministry of Defence. So we're making our way through the Prince's Gardens, which is this beautiful park that sits right below the Castle Rock.
A volcano, ice, and man all shape the landscape before you. So you can follow the road all the way up to the castle, but there are little shortcuts. But the street is too cool, we have to check out the rest of it.
There's literal different levels to this city. It's almost like it's built on top of different planes, so that's why those staircases exist. You can just kind of take the level up to the next part, but like Sydney said, this street, can't miss it. If you follow Cockburn Street all the way up, it leads right to the Royal Mile, which is where we are now. The reason they call it the Royal Mile is because it leads all the way up to the castle, and then the other way, it leads to Holyrood, which is the royal residence here in Edinburgh. What's kind of cool about this is if you look all the way down to the east, you can actually see the sea, and it's so windy because we're so near the sea. Ah! So we're just about to go into the castle. We didn't pre-book tickets, but you can go online. There's a QR code once you get here, and then they just automatically collect tickets from this kiosk over here. They're £18 each for just the general admission. So the reason why I think this castle tour is absolutely worth it is before you even get in the tour, you can come up to the parapets and look out over the entire city of Edinburgh. You can also see all the way out to the Firth of Forth, which is just the bay that leads out from the sea. And then looking to the east, you can see the sea itself. It's an amazing view, one of the best you're gonna find in Edinburgh. But yeah, this is kind of just built in before you even get to the tour. Come up to the cannons, look out over, and see one of the best views you'll see. It's difficult to know exactly when this castle was built because it just kept getting added onto and added onto and added onto, and still to this day in the 21st century, they've added onto it. However, we do know that construction was started in the 11th century. Tom's coming. This year we've been to a handful of medieval places, but Edinburgh takes the cake as the most medieval feeling city. It's just everything about it. It's even like the color of the bricks. As you look out over the city, you can see a very dark color to all of the architecture, and a lot of that's just because these buildings have been here since the 15th, 16th century. I love this place. The rain has officially started, and look at us. Brought our rain jackets just in case. We're gonna just find something to eat and wait this out, because who knows how long it'll last. We just had time for a quick pint of Guinness, and we come outside and it's beautiful. This is very strange. So this is the street that apparently was the inspiration for J.K. Rowling when she was writing Diagon Alley. Now we've been to Florida in the theme park and we've seen the actual Diagon Alley. And I can say there's definitely some similarity. The colors of the buildings and then the way it's kind of shaped. You're walking down the street and then you see on both sides just shops because of the facade and how colorful it is that you just want to go in and check it out.
Such a narrow shop, and it goes up 3 or 4 flights of stairs. Feels like it's the Weasley's
Wizard Wheezes.
Weasley's Wizard Wheezes. It's even orange to reflect like it is in the movie. Cute!
Once you leave Victoria Street, aka Diagon Alley, you enter Grass Market, which is basically just a trendy area with a lot of bars and restaurants, and we still have not managed to actually eat today.
There is a very interesting item on the menu that we have to try while here in Edinburgh.
I have to try, or you have to try?
We both have to try.
Oh, there we go, a little solidarity. I'm about to give you a 30-second Scottish food and drink tour. When you're here in Scotland, the 2 things you have to try, first of all, Scotch whiskey. They have a proper Scotch menu here where it's all the different kinds. You have the Highland, the Lowlands, the Speyside. That's how you know which region it comes from. This is the Glengarrick 12-year. Absolutely have to try it here in Scotland. And then also, you've probably heard about it, it's called Haggis. If there's any vegan or vegetarian viewers out there, I'll give you a second to skip this part. You don't want to hear this. Haggis is basically ground up lungs, heart, and liver encased in a beef stomach, or sometimes it's a lamb stomach. And then there's a lot of different spices as well, and that's what makes haggis. They actually had a vegetarian haggis on the menu here, so if you are vegetarian or vegan and you still want to try it, I have no idea what goes into that, but they have it. This dish is called Haggis, Meeps, and Tatties. You're probably wondering what all that means. So haggis, obviously, that's on top right here. The tatties is just mashed potatoes. And then neep is actually just a different word for radish or turnip. So haggis, turnips, and mashed potatoes with a little bit of a gravy on top. And that's everything you have to try in Scotland right there. There's also more, of course, but those are the most famous things. Sometimes people get a little too carried away with what it actually is. There's a lot of things out there that are weird things. You guys know what hot dogs are? Exactly. Just tastes good. That's all you need to know about it. I think one of the reasons it freaks everyone out when they come here as tourists is obviously what it is. It's a little weird, but also the name. The name doesn't sound that appetizing, haggis. But don't let that bother you, just try it. It's really, really good. So apparently, J.K. Rowling actually came to this exact graveyard and got some of the inspirations for the names in the novel, such as Professor McGonagall, Mad-Eye Moody, Tom Riddle, aka Lord Voldemort. really striking how old some of these graves are, because when you look at the date of death, for example on this one, it's 1808. That's over 200 years ago.
We saw a lot of Jameses, a lot of Thomases, some Arthurs, Georges. These are definitely kind of older names, but we like to think that she came here a lot, used a lot of these tombstones as inspiration for her characters.
Legend has it that Bobby was a small little terrier dog that sat right by his owner's grave for 14 years. Talk about loyalty. And as you can see, his loyalty is immortalized.
Welcome to the Elephant House, the birthplace of Harry Potter. This is where J.K. Rowling wrote a good portion of the first couple of books. Sadly, it's closed, probably indefinitely. I don't really know what's going on. It's all boarded up. Hopefully they can make it back one day, because I would love to have a coffee and cake here one day.
The cafe is closed because of a fire issue they had. Apparently it was pretty devastating. That's really sad. But the good news is that it will be opening up at some point in the future.
Next time.
Next time we're here, hopefully.
We've reached the end of the Royal Mile here at the Holyrood Estate. Now this is where the Queen stays when she visits Edinburgh, and that's why it's called the Royal Mile. This estate leads right up to the castle.
So the Scottish Highlands, the northern part of this country, is known to have some of the best hiking and most beautiful scenery in the entire world. But if you're only in Edinburgh for a couple days and you can't make it up there, there are also great hikes here, just like Arthur's Seat. I'm already out of breath. The view's already getting pretty good, and it looks like we timed it well with sunset.
This is such a unique location. They had to have planned the city around this point, because to the right you can see the sea. To the left, the castle is like all lit up from the silhouette of the sun. It's so beautiful.
Wow. I mean, what other way to get a perfectly unobstructed view? You feel like you're on top of the world. I can't even like describe it any other way.
This morning when we were at the castle, we thought those views were unbeatable. But here at Arthur's Seat, it's unmatched. You can see the castle itself, and from this perspective, it absolutely looks like a fortress. And just the sea. We're in like this bay, and you can see both sides of Scotland, and even to my right over here you can see the rolling hills that lead up to the Highlands. You can see planes coming in.
One of the most beautiful views I think you can find, not just in Scotland, but the entire UK. So today we focused on the old town and the medieval feel of central Edinburgh. Tomorrow we're going to try to branch out a little bit and find the cool neighborhoods, the trendy spots. So look out for that video as well. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, helps us out a ton. Thank you guys, and see you soon.